And greetings to everybody from around the world. I'm actually people coming from all over the place, from Asia, from America, from Middle East, Eastern Europe. To those of you who are suffering in America right now, you have our thoughts, you're in our thoughts. It is pretty damn brutal out there. And we hope you're doing well. I see that there's electricity systems going down. You're having repeated hits of the bad weather systems. So I hope you're doing well. I hope you're safe, and I hope you and your loved ones are safe and you get through this. Meanwhile, for the next hour and a half, our plan is to be an oasis of sanity in an insane world. And I think we can all do with that. The world is chaotic, it is a bit crazy, but on the other hand, the feeling seems to be that we're coming out of it. The feeling seems to be that maybe we're getting back into some stability. And for those people who've survived the last year, which has been tough for everybody, hopefully there is hope ahead. There's a feeling that we are getting through that. And what we have today, we have 4 panelists on our panel who are deeply involved in developing and delivering and supporting and to a certain extent conceptualizing what the professionalization of the security industry means. We have Nancy Green, I'm delighted to say, who is the Chief Global Learning and Strategy Officer at ASIS, not ISIS, as I mentioned you previously, Nancy. My apologies for that. And as I say, if anybody is listening from Washington, I didn't mean that. It was a mistake, I promise you. But the Chief Global Learning and Strategy Officer from ASIS. ASIS, of course, is the largest membership organization in the world. And we're looking forward very much, Nancy, to hearing your perspective on that. We have Jacqui Semple, who is the chair from the UK of the Emergency Planning Society, which is involved in all aspects of formulating and putting a framework around some of the basic issues around emergency planning, many of which have been tested and found wanting in the last year. Jim Digby coming in from the States from the Events Safety Alliance, one of which Jim sets up, and he'll tell you about that and a couple of other organizations he's involved in. Which is very, very much involved in creating an understanding of what professional activity means within a sector which is as unstructured in many ways as any in the live event sector. And Andy Hollinson, Chief Executive Officer of the Square Metre, who's been involved for many, many years in crowd management, and will introduce himself. My guests will introduce themselves when we come in, but I would just like to give it for a couple of minutes an overview from my perspective. I came back to London in 1991, and I heard on the radio that Westminster Council, which was the main council in London, was setting up a charm school for bouncers. I heard that on the radio, and I thought, that's interesting. So I phoned up the radio station and I asked them, what's that about? And they said, Westminster Council is running this program for bouncers. And I got in touch with Westminster Council. And they said, well, this is what you have to do. And I went to see a couple of people who were teaching courses for bouncers. And basically, they were big, tough guys telling war stories. And I thought, well, if these people are doing this and making a living, I'm probably in with a chance. So I set up a course. And in October 1992, Westminster Council published their very first list of approved trainers for door supervisors. And I was on it. So that's 30 years ago almost. So I think I can actually demonstrate that I've been involved in this pretty much from the beginning. And what we have seen over the last 30 years is an unbelievable professionalization of the security industry at the top level. At the top level, we have degrees, we have master's degrees, we have doctorates, we have professional security programs, we have accreditation, we have chartered security professionals. And if you want to come in on security management into a corporate environment now, master's level is the entry level. If you're working in any agency in the world as a senior commander, master's level is what you need to have. And yet, at the lower level, on the ground of people doing the job, I don't think we've seen any development at all. I think we're still seeing chasing down to the low prices. It's seen as an untrained, unprofessional, to a certain extent unregulated, unmotivated, unloved and unvalued sector. And often it's the thing you do because you can't find another job. It's what you do as a job of last resort. So I am very much looking forward to hearing the views of the people today who've been involved in that as long, if not longer than I have. And hopefully looking into the future where we will see the professionalisation of the sector as it needs to be done. I think we'll all agree. Please feel free to drop your questions in and your comments. We will be going around, the format will be about 10 minutes a person for each of our panelists to introduce themselves. That'll be about 40 minutes. And for the rest of the time, it will be questions and answers, and we're looking forward to having your questions there.